on my teeth. Today's October 27th already, and oh my gosh, it snowed today here in Utah. But anyway, I'm Lynn Huber.
And I'm Richard.
And this is Richard. So I want to welcome you out today. So today we are going to talk about the dangers of comparing yourself to others. Ooh. So hold on, I'm going to move some things around. Okay, so now you can see my screen. And let me see, are we good? Okay. So if you're here, say hi so we know you're here. And looks like I'm live. Looks like I'm there. So I'm on my blog at onlinebeautybiz.com. And we'll just go down to the search. We can just type in comparing. You can pretty much find anything in here. There's all kinds of stuff. So there we go. The dangers of comparing yourself to others. So there we go. So just check it and see if anybody's here. Okay, well, maybe people are going to be watching the replay or they're just not here yet. Anyway, so, it's so easy to find ourselves comparing ourselves to others. We all do it. It's kind of natural. We all do it all the time, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's a good thing to do. And you have to be really careful about it because comparing yourself to others actually hurts you more than it helps you. It can reduce your confidence. It can reduce your motivation. It can reduce your self-esteem. And so you want to become the best person, the best version of you. You don't necessarily need to be better than somebody else. You just need to be better than you, what you were yesterday, right? So there's a video in here you can watch if you want. But some of the dangers about comparing yourself to somebody else is that there's actually all kinds of things. Everyone has a different starting point. So, if, like, for instance, if you're just now learning to play golf, but you have a friend who's been playing for 10 years, obviously you can't compare yourself to them because you're not even in the same ballpark, If you're interested in playing basketball, but you're 5 feet tall and your friend is 6'4", big difference, right? Maybe you're just starting out in your Avon business, and your mentor's been building her business for 18 years it's just everybody is in a different place. And even if you both start at the same time, even if you both started your business together, you still came from a different place because you have a different background, different experience. So you can't compare your progress or your results or your success unless the starting points are the same, and they never are, because something is always different because you're different people.
Can I say something on that? This is a thing that a lot of people do. They start out with a business and they compare themselves to somebody else. Say, wow, she just started the same time I did, but she's doing gangbusters. Well, you don't know what her growth was. You don't know where she was at. She may have a huge list of people or a lot of friends or whatever, or people that were interested in Avon. It doesn't matter. It's just crazy that you compare yourself to her because she's just going to take off running right off the bat, and you're probably not if you don't have very many connections.
Or it could just be she's got a more outgoing personality than you, and so therefore she has a bigger list because she's made a lot more friends and because she's been out there. And maybe I am more of an introvert. Richard's more of an extrovert, so I tend to hide in the house. I tend to hide behind the computer and working behind the computer. And yes, I know how to turn myself on when I need to, and I'm working my business, but just automatically I'm going to have less friends than Richard because I'm more in the house, and he's more like, I want to get out, I want to meet people, I want to go places. Hey Carla, good to see you.
Good to see you, Carla.
Happy Sunday. So everyone has a different level of talent and natural abilities too, Some people are born with a higher IQ than others. Some people have amazing hand-eye coordination. Some people have a natural knack for music or math or amazing with numbers. I have a friend that I went to high school with, Chris. She's actually on my Avon team. She has always had this amazing thing about numbers. You give her a phone number and she'll remember it forever. Yeah, you only have to tell her once. And 3 years from now, I can go, what was that person's phone number? And boom, she knows it. I don't know how she does that because I can't do it. But, we all have different starting points. Hey, Lily. Hi, Kathy. Good to see you. Glad to see you guys are here. So the resources available to you or another person are different. So if you want to play violin and your father's wealthy concert violinist, you have a huge advantage over someone who's born into a financially challenged family that has no experience. The same is true if you come from an educated family versus a non-educated family. Your resources, your expectations of what's possible are different. And as you work to grow your Avon business, we hope that you'll increase your expectations of what's possible. I was just talking about this the other day. Hey, Denise, good to see you. I was just talking about this over lunch with my friend, Colt. And he's young. He's really young. And but he came from a family that first off, I came from a family that was very poor. My family was immigrants. I'm first generation born in the U.S. My college wasn't even in my parents' vocabulary. They had big dreams. And I know you've heard this before, but all of my life I was told, man, you work really hard. You're so smart. If you work really hard, you could even grow up to be a secretary. To my parents, working in an office was something they couldn't even dream of. That was working in an office, like at a desk. That was like, for their daughter to do that, that was the most amazing thing in the world. College wasn't even on their radar. It wasn't even something they even could dream about. I mean, my parents were housekeepers and handymen, right? My mom was a housekeeper and my dad was a handyman. So for me, that was that. But Colt, his parents, they weren't well off. They weren't wealthy, but they had big dreams for their son going to college. And so his whole life, he was told he was going to go to college. And yeah, he had to pay his own way. They didn't have the money to pay for it. But it was something that was already ingrained in him that it was a possibility. And so all of that can make all the difference as to what resources are available and what you can accomplish. And as you grow, the more you're going to learn about resources, the more you're going to learn to expand your vision, right? And where you come from. So we hope as you grow your Avon business that that we can help you, and hope these Sunday Facebook Lives and all the other training I do helps you to increase your expectations about what's possible. And then we tend to compare ourselves to the best in the world. So you don't compare your Texas Hold'em skills to your neighbor, the electrician, right? You would compare we just don't do that automatically. We don't say, Fred next door is an amazing electrician, but I play Texas Hold'em better than him. What we tend to do is we look at the people on TV that are on those shows that are playing, tournaments, and we're comparing ourselves to them. You don't compare your Avon business to other reps in your area. You compare it to the people that are on stage at Rep Fest. You see somebody on stage being recognized for being the top salesperson or being the top recruiter, or you see Emily Segrin being recognized for being the top online salesperson, and you're comparing yourself to her, and you can't do that because she hasn't got the same, again, just like we already talked about, she doesn't have the same skills you have. She doesn't have the same experience you have. She doesn't have anything like you. You guys are both different. And she's built that business from the ground up. That doesn't mean you can walk in and all of a sudden be like her. You can eventually, if you follow her, you can learn to do what she's doing and you can get there, but it's not like you don't ever want to compare yourself because you're never going to be equal to her. She's always going to be ahead of you because she got a head start, And so we typically don't compare ourselves to the average. We compare ourselves to the best that the world has to offer. And so that's not good. That's not helping us at all because we don't want to be average. I'm not saying we want to be average, but we also can't be the best in the world either. Someone's always going to be better than you, right? And that's number 5. There's always someone better. So there's only a handful of people that can make a reasonable claim to be the best at anything. And there's nearly 8 billion people in the world. That's a lot of people you have to surpass. I mean, here's a perfect example. Michael Jackson, in my opinion, he is one of the greats. He is I don't think there's hardly anybody that outshines him when it comes to music and when it comes to writing music and performing. I mean, there's been some amazing greats, don't get me wrong. I mean, Elvis Presley and the Beatles. And I mean, there have been some amazing greats. But again, all of those are a small few of the total population. Out of the 8 billion people, only a small few really get to that kind of level. And it's just not likely you're going to get there, right? So, that's why it's easy to see why making these comparisons can be dangerous because there's really not much to gain and you have too much risk. So comparing yourselves to others isn't useful either because you're just going to upset yourself. So here's what you should do instead So compare yourself to yourself. That's a better option. Pay attention to your progress over time. Log it. If that's what it takes, log it. I do that. I log every day how many people I shared the Avon opportunity with, how many people I gave a brochure to, how many recruits I got that day. Every single day I log it so that over time I can see if I'm getting better. Or I log my sales for the campaign, and campaign after campaign after campaign, I'm logging them so I can see if they're better. I also have the ability to go back and look at year after year. This campaign, for instance, 20 versus campaign 20 last year. Where am I at in regards to that? And within a single campaign, I log my team sales by day. So day 1 of the campaign, day 2 of the campaign, day 3 of the campaign. So I know on day 7 of the campaign, I know if I'm ahead or behind where I'm normally at on day 7 of the campaign.
Yeah, it gives you a chance to timely react, so you can make something happen, except for being, instead of being surprised at the end saying, oh shoot, doesn't look like I'm going to make it.
But that's comparing yourself to yourself.
That's right. That's
so
right.
Hey Sheila, good to see you. Good to see you. Thanks for being here. So limit yourself to your exposure to social media. In theory, social media exists to connect people, but in actuality, it's more often a way of showing off. You rarely get the real story. It's funny. Everybody puts their best, right? Everybody does. Nobody talks about what an idiot they are. Well, sometimes. I mean, I do sometimes because I try to be real. But really what you're getting is everyone's best attempt to make their life look better than it is. So everybody's kind of like out there portraying what they want the world to think of them rather than what they really are. And that's really what social media is. And so what happens is if you're on social media, you start noticing that everyone except you seems to be living a spectacular life, or seems to be highly successful, or seems to be doing amazing things. And it's not true. I'm not saying they're not. I mean, people do amazing things and people celebrate those things. But just be cautious with social media, because every single day when someone posts something, that doesn't mean that that's really what their life is like, although personally, I couldn't live without social media. I would go crazy. I've had some issues with Facebook locking me out and stuff, but I've had other people tell me that they're much happier once they've removed social media from their lives. So, hey, Priscilla, good to see you. So use the success of others as inspiration. So, the success of others can be useful to you. You can study how they became successful. That would be like if I'm back to the Emily Seagren analogy that I made earlier. You can, the fact that she can be so successful online just tells you it's possible, right? It just tells you that, well, if she can do it, I can do it. Doesn't mean I can do it today. Doesn't mean I can just decide to do it and boom, I'm there. But at least it gives you something that you can work towards because you know that it's possible. Another story, you guys may have heard this before. I think I've even told this story many times, but Lisa Wilbert, who's a good friend of mine, she's one of the top people of Avon. She's, I think, the number 4 money earner right now. And when she sold Avon, way back, I don't know when this was, in the 70s or something, I don't know. But when she first was selling Avon, she was married back then, and she was selling Avon, and she had a job as a secretary and was making $25,000 a year. I remember her saying that. And it was the best job she'd ever had in her life. And then she got laid off. And her husband said to her, well, why don't you do something with that Avon that you've been playing with? And she says, I didn't know anybody who even sold $25,000, let alone earned that. I mean, if they're not even selling that, they're obviously not earning that. But then she decided, well, she had probably a process to get there. I'm sure it wasn't an instant decision. But then she decided, well, I'm going to give it a chance. And she also decided, I am going to withhold judgment until I get to the top. I'm going to just focus. I'm going to go to the very top of the company. I'm going to focus on it. I'm going to keep working on it. And I'm not going to look back or judge, because how am I going to know if it's the right thing if I haven't got there yet? So I'm just going to work to get to the top. Once I get to the top, I'll make that decision. Is it worth doing? Can I make more money here than I can as a secretary? Well, obviously she blew that out of the water. I mean, I don't know her exact income, but she's in the mid 6 figures anyway. So that's pretty good income, right? I would say she's actually 300,000 or 400,000. But again, I don't know that for sure. But she's number 4 earner with Avon. So obviously she blew that 25,000 out of the water. So it's all a matter of being inspired and making your dreams, knowing what you can reach for. And so use others as a way to know what you can reach for, because if they're being successful, then rather than drag them down, or rather than be jealous, or rather than thinking, I can't do that, why not use that as an inspiration that if they can do it, I can do it. And that's, like I said, that's what Lisa said. She said, well, if someone else can do it, I know I can do it. And she went after it. And even in that case, she didn't know anybody that could do it, but she decided to be that one. So, do you compare yourself to others? Because it's not good. It's not good at all. It can be detrimental to your confidence and your self-esteem. So instead, work to compare yourself to your current version of yourself to a future version of what you want to be 3 months from now or 6 months from now, or compare yourself to where you were 3 months ago. That's a more fair comparison to make. It's easy to see your progress or your lack of progress, log it, whatever it is. And it doesn't even have to be how high your sales are or how big your Avon business is. It could be, how compassionate am I? Am I more compassionate than I was 3 months ago? Am I more supportive of my team than I was 3 months ago? Whatever it is that you want to do to make yourself a better version of you. And that better version of you could be a million different things. Mm-hmm. There's no right or wrong answer with that. So the best comparison you can make is with yourself, right? Your past self. So set a few goals and spend some time each day working on those goals, and you'll be happy when you see the progress you've made. So to go along with this, I actually got a question today from somebody. I'm not going to call her out because I don't want to embarrass her, or I don't want to cause any problems. But I got a question today from a rep who sent me a private message on Facebook. And she asked me, she said, where I just recently moved, and where I used to live, all the reps were so helpful, and we worked together, and we all helped each other. And and I believe this, I really believe this, a rising tide lifts all ships, right? Well, so she says in her, where she used to live, that's how it was. Mm-hmm. And now she's moved to another town. It's a smaller town. And what she's finding is in this new town, everybody seems to be jealous. Everybody seems to be competitive, and they're out trying to outdo each other all the time. And they're constantly, she says, in their Facebook posts, or where they post elsewhere, or when they're talking to people about their Avon business, they're all trying to outdo themselves. And so, this is kind of the same thing. It's really sad. I find it really sad that reps are too busy trying to be in competition with each other, because that's not helping anybody. It's not even helping the reps that are being in competition. And, I ran into that. I still run into it a little bit when I moved to Utah, because I was a top leadership representative in California. Now, I walked away from my business for 6 years. And so when I moved to Utah, my business had come down quite a bit. It wasn't where it was at its height, but it was still higher than a lot of people in Utah. There was a lot of people in Utah that were way ahead of me. I'm not saying that I was better than them or anything, but there was people in Utah that I think were jealous of where I was at, and they didn't know me, and they didn't have any idea what it took for me to get where I was at. And so they kind of made assumptions, well, who does she think she is, or whatever. But I don't let myself get caught up in that. I don't play that game, right? I believe that I work my business. I provide help wherever I can. I have always provided help because I worked my way up to almost senior executive unit leader the hard way. I scrapped my way. I had no help. I didn't even have a district manager that helped me. I literally had no help. So Richard and I would pay trainers to teach us how to grow our business outside of Avon. We went to seminars, and we went to trainings, and we studied, and we learned how to grow our business outside of Avon. And we got to really close to senior executive unit leader. We didn't quite get there, but because I was up there and I felt so blessed that I wanted to give back. And that's why I started this online beauty biz blog. So I help where I can. I want to help people be successful. I believe that there's plenty of success for everyone. There's no reason why one has to be better than the other. There's plenty of Avon business for every one of us. And even in Fillmore, California, I still have team members in Fillmore, California. It's a little tiny town. What's the population?
It's 15,000.
15,000 in that town. And out of my top 10 reps, out of my whole business, back then I had 600 and I don't know, almost 700 reps, 680 something, I think. And out of my top 10, like 6 of them lived in Fillmore. And you know what's funny is they didn't fall all over each other. They weren't in competition with each other because we all have different spheres of influence.
Yes.
Based on where we go to church, or based on who our friends are, or based on our family, or even based on our personalities. We all have different spheres of influence. So always, when people would say to me all the time, well, I don't know if I want to do Avon because it seems like it's oversaturated. And I would always laugh because that's the story I would tell, that I had out of my top 10 people, 6 of them lived in Fillmore. And I mean, that's huge. In fact, my number 1 seller and my whole team lives in Fillmore. And so trust me, there's plenty of business for everyone. 15,000 people maybe isn't a very big town, but divided by six reps, that's an awful lot of customers each, right? But so I guess the best advice I can give you, as far as if you're having a problem with people trying to out-compete you, is just try to let that go. Just try to not worry about them, not worry about their business, worry about yourself. Just grow your own business, do you. That's the best thing you can do, is do you. I've been doing these Facebook Lives, and that's why, Carla.
Thank you, Carla.
So I have to put that up there, I'm sorry. And that's why your team loves you. Thank you, Carla. I love you too. So, what was I saying? I do these Facebook Lives. I made the commitment to myself after doing some training about Facebook Lives and how critical they are to your business. I made the commitment that I was going to do it every single day for a year. And you know what? I'm a goon. I can be a total idiot on some of these Facebook Lives. I don't know. I'm not perfect. I'm overweight. We all probably do this, but I look at myself in the video and I think, oh, you look like an idiot, or, oh, your face doesn't, whatever. I mean, we all do that, right? But the deal is that there are people that love me, and there are people that love me because on a psychic level, somehow they feel like we're similar. And people get that from a video. They can tell from a video. A picture doesn't do it so much, but a video where they're seeing your mannerisms, they're seeing the way you talk, is that people can relate to you. There's probably a lot of people that don't like me. There's probably a lot of people that say, oh, she doesn't know what she's talking about, or whatever. And hey, that's totally okay, because there's plenty of people that like me. And so that's what I want to tell you, is that there's plenty of people that like you too. And there's plenty of people out there that are going to want to do business with you over the other reps in the area, because you connect somehow on a psychic or a heart level. You've made a connection with that person. I don't know, it could be even as simple as the way you label your brochures or something. Who knows why people are attracted to people, right? but you're going to find people that are attracted to you and that if you don't make it an issue, if you don't turn it into she's trying to outdo me, she's doing better Facebook posts than I am, or she's doing whatever. If you don't make that into an issue, the people who are following you won't either. They won't even notice it. So that's what you know what's happening, because you know that they're trying to compete with you, but you know that, but your customers don't know that, right?
Yep.
So, Denise, you guys, I'm not saying all this to get this. You're an amazing person. Thank you, Denise. I love you too.
Hey, can I say something real quick? The one thing, we've gone to a lot of different events, and even in other companies, but just within Avon, we'd met maybe 30, 40, 50 of the top earning reps in Avon. And the strangest thing is, and we've even talked about this even when we went to different group meetings when we were all together in rooms together, is that there's not any 2 people in Avon that have risen to the top the same way. They all did it their own way. And the main thing was they had belief in themselves and they consistently worked hard. That's the only 2 consistencies that I've been able to pick up. But out of all these different top Avon reps that are in Avon, they've all gotten there a different way. They all had different skills, different unique things they came up with, and created their magic.
Yeah. Hi, Tracy. Good to see you. And Denise says them to you too, Richard.
Thank you, Denise.
So, Richard's right, though. If you look at all the top people in Avon, not a single one of them, not a single two of them has ever built their business the same way. They're all different. And that just goes to prove that there's no right way to build your business.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest thing, like Richard said, is put your head down, get to work. But it's also about belief. You have to have belief that you can do it. And I don't know about you. I mean, maybe it's just me. I was kind of an underdog growing up as a child. I was picked on a lot because I didn't go to the right church. And so I developed in my own mind, I can do this no matter what. You can't stop me. No one can stop me. If I want something, I will make it happen. And you know what? I will. If I want something bad enough, I'll make it happen. And I know within myself that I will do that. And I know that I won't fail. Now, I'm going to have failures along the way because failures are just stepping stones to success. But the only way to truly fail is to quit. And so I know that no matter what, I'm going to make it to whatever it is that I'm going for. And right now, I'm going to platinum. That's what I'm going to. Avon Platinum. That's where I'm going. And I know that I will get there. And I know that the only way that I'm going to fail is if I quit. Now, am I going to have part times when I might be on top of the world and growing and doing great, and moving up the hill? And then there's going to be times when I'm going to slip back. I know that. And that's okay because that's how it works. That's how it works. But the only way is to is to quit. The only way to really fail is to quit. So in regards to if you're dealing with other people being jealous or being competitive, just know that's just how it is. We have this story we tell all the time about the crabs in the bucket, and it's just human nature. But if you go out and you are catching crabs out where the ocean, I guess, wherever, and you're out catching them, what you do is you throw them in a big 5-gallon bucket, and you catch the crab and you throw it in the bucket. And you might start to see those crabs are going to start climbing on top of each other and climbing, and they might get all the way to the top of the bucket. And you're thinking, oh my gosh, they're going to get out. But if you just stand back and watch, you're going to see that they don't get out. You know why? Because the other crabs in the bucket drag them down. They'll grab them and drag them down. And if they keep trying, those crabs will actually attack the one that's trying to get out and hurt them to stop them from getting out. And it's really sad, but humans do the same thing. I mean, maybe not quite so blatantly, but we do it with our brains and with our mouth, and we do the same thing. So the best thing you can do is just work on bettering yourself, work on your personal development, work on becoming more comfortable with yourself and more comfortable that more confident in yourself that you can do this, and just work on doing it. And don't worry about what other reps are doing, because they're going to run their own business their way, and they're going to be successful or not be successful based on what they do. So you just worry about what you're doing.
Yeah, Kathy has a comment there.
So Kathy says, I like getting new ideas from everyone.
Exactly.
Yes. We all have so much to share. Seriously, we all have so much to share. So I believe we should share. It's just what I believe. I mean, there's enough abundance in the world, the universe. There's enough sales out there for everyone. And, right now is the best time ever for Avon with all the holiday products and Campaign 24. I was just working on Campaign 24 with all the holiday products that are coming in Campaign 24 with the Chi Hair Care, with the Avon by the Face Shop. I am really excited about our future. I'm really excited about where we're going to go. And if you just do you and be committed to your success, you will be successful. That's really what it is. That's you do you. Don't worry about other people. Work every day on your success. Try to better yourself. Do everything you can to better yourself, and do what you can to grow your business. Set goals, reach them, and I guarantee you'll be successful if you do all that. So that's really what I have. Do you guys have any other questions?
I'd just like to make a comment on the thing that Lynn does a lot of tracking, and it really helps. It kind of ties in with the fact that most of us went all the way through high school. We went to school for basically 12 years. We didn't turn the age of 5 and say, I know everything. I don't need to go to school. We stuck it out for 12 years and accumulated knowledge. And it's the same thing in your business. We have a saying that we've said many, many times, but most people overestimate what they can do in most people overestimate what they can do in 1 year, but underestimate what they can do in 5 years. So you don't want to have a short plan. You don't want to have I'm gonna do Avon for 2 weeks and see if I'm successful. You should put it in at least for a year. If you're starting out in any business, do it for a year, no matter what, thick or thin, stick with it, learn everything you can, try to grow your business, and you'll see phenomenal growth. And if you track it, you can look back and you can see where you did things right, where you did things wrong, and you can learn from experience and keep building on it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But even better than making that commitment to a year, that would be the first commitment. The first commitment, if you're new, is make that commitment to yourself that you will be here 1 year from now, that you will not give up. You will give it at least 1 year and then reevaluate it. But if you're seriously looking to build your business, then the commitment is I'm going to get to platinum and then I will evaluate whether it's worth it. Get to the top. Because if you're seriously looking to build your business, then set your goals high and get there. Go to your goals, make them happen, and then you can, put the blinders on, and then you can look back. And because, you're not going to have very few people have a highly successful business even in their first year, even a year in. But at least a year in, you should be able to see some progress.
Yes.
So, but if you open a brick and mortar business, if you open a pizza place or you open a store, most stores have to be able to support themselves for like the first 3 years. That they don't make a profit until they've been there for 3 years, 3 or 4 years. So we're lucky because we can make a profit from the first campaign. Carla can say that. I know she made some profit, not a lot maybe, but she made some profit in her first campaign. And Rick and Tina, they made, in the Fast Start program, I don't remember what they made, over $3,000, I believe, in their first 90 days. So it's totally doable. So give it a chance. Don't quit before you've gotten to where you want to go. Don't quit before you've reached your goals. So Priscilla says, great presentation. Thank you, Priscilla. I love you. And I think that's all I have. So you guys, I want to thank you for being here today. We're getting towards the end of the year, so I'm going to look into maybe next Sunday talking about how to help you increase your sales to maybe either get to President's Club or beyond, or the Jamaica trip or whatever. So I'll put something together and I'll make the announcement probably towards the beginning or middle of the week. But I'll do something for next Sunday. So plan on being here next Sunday. Today is the October 27th. So next Sunday would be November 3rd. Same time, same place. And thanks, Tracy. She says it's inspiring. Thank you. Thanks for being here. All right, you guys, have a great week, and we will talk next week.
See you next week. Have a great week.
Bye-bye.